Here in France, half of the country is now under red alert as temperatures are expected to climb to 41 degrees Celsius amid a fierce heatwave. The red alert covering much of western and central France, including Paris. Forecasters saying the current heatwave could end up being as serious as the one in August 2003, which claimed the lives of nearly 15,000 mainly elderly people in the country. Let's cross now to Andrew Hilliar, who's out there in the heat in front of Gare du Nord. Andy, the government has been holding a crisis meeting. What recommendations are they likely to come up, if indeed any?
Yeah, well, Annette, this isn't the first crisis meeting, and it certainly won't be the last crisis meeting that the government is planning to hold about this heat wave. There are several issues that they will address, several announcements that they could make. They'll certainly address and talk about the French health system, whether or not it is equipped to cope with the very likely influx of patients coming in with heat-related complications and illnesses. They'll also likely discuss plans to tackle potential forest fires, and the government will also very likely ask various government departments to accelerate the strategic planning that's been put in place to deal with the kind of climate change impacts that we're seeing today. Remember, Annette, the government does have a national climate change adaptation plan, and it insists that it is implementing those measures, but there has been a lot of criticism from those who say that the government simply hasn't allocated the resources necessary and what's essentially needed to tackle climate change, given the heat waves that we are now seeing.
And Andy, just take us through about what is happening in regards to across the country. I mean, you've got not just a red alert for central and western parts of France, but an orange alert for the rest of the nation. What has been happening across the nation as a result?
Well, as you just mentioned there, at least half of the French population has been placed under a red heat alert. That is the highest heat warning here in France. Dozens of other regions placed under orange alert, the second highest warning. Highest temperatures expected to hit across parts of western France. And of course, there have been other serious consequences too. You have hundreds of schools which have been closed across the country. I spoke to teachers over the weekend who told me that already last week, when temperatures hadn't reached their peak, they arrived in classrooms that were so hot that it was simply impossible to continue giving their students classes. So that, of course, has knock-on effects on parents of children as well, who have to take time off work to look after their kids. And of course, there's also the impact on transport. I'm standing in front of a Gare du Nord, as you mentioned, one of Paris and France's busiest railway stations. But as Jean Castex, the head of the SNCF, France's national rail operator, said in a press conference on Sunday evening, the problem is that France's rail infrastructure simply isn't equipped and wasn't designed to handle the kind of heat we're seeing now. It wasn't, the rails weren't designed to handle heat of up to 40 to 50 degrees Celsius. Neither were the overhead cables or the signaling. So it's for those reasons that you're likely to see a lot of disruption on the railway services today and further on in the week.
Indeed. Thanks for that. That's Andrew Hilliar reporting there from Gare du Nord.